We're live, so that was crazy.
What is it that Afghanistan have to do in order to beat Pakistan? And what is it with Shadab and Naseem who have to hurt Afghanistan over and over again? This is a repeat of Sharjah 2022 Asia Cup. So
Hmm.
what has happened is okay. We thought it would be a one-sided win. Afghanistan notching up 300 for 5 with Rahmanullah Gurbaz creating history in the process.
Yeah.
But Pakistan were absolutely cruising at 170 for 1. And
Hmm.
then you lose 5 wickets for 41 runs. 5 wickets for
Ex-
41. And then you're left with Shadab, you're left with Naseem. And then what happens towards the fag end? Pakistan have gotten the equation down to 11 or 6. But okay, there is one thing called as a run out. Oh my
the
God.
strikers run out. The non-strikers run out. And by the way, I will give plenty of credit to it was Fazal Haq Faruqi because he knew that Shadab was constantly running twos in the penultimate over, and because he ended the last over by hitting a four and a six. So what happened thereafter was that, simply put, he actually ended up well. He knew that he'd want to run, get on to strike. And so what does he do? Very first ball, attempts a run out successfully. So even the umpire called it fair decision, no problem whatsoever. Dear God.
Oh goodness, oh goodness. I mean, really, what must the Afghanistan players be thinking? I mean, we are so close. We are so close to a win. And yet Naseem Shah hurts us all over again. Shadab Khan hurts us all over again. A repeat of Sharjah 2022. And remember, in 2023 already, Afghanistan had beaten Pakistan twice in
Mm,
T20Is in March. Now
correct.
you had a golden chance to do it in ODIs, and somehow, some way, Pakistan have held on. So if I have to use this, they have a slightly better top order. There is no middle order, and they have a very good lower order. And I am
Exactly.
joined by Nikhil, who many people are saying he emerged like a ghost. So, are you really spooked by what happened, Nikhil, today in this Pakistan-Afghanistan match?
Firstly, incredible match. What a game of ODI cricket we just witnessed. I I mean, if I say it in the way that I'm going to say it, it might upset a lot of people. But it's more than Pakistan winning. I think Afghanistan lost this game. They just gave it to them on a platter. All kudos to Shadab and Naseem at the end for having done what they did. And I dare I say that Shadab is one of their better batsmen, not just for now, for a long time. I can't believe that he bats as low down the order that he does. Because quite frankly, the kind of middle order that they have, he deserves to be batting much higher. And it's not just the runs that Shadab gets, it's also the kind of maturity that he shows. We'll get into the Pakistan batting a little later, but I want to spend some time talking about Afghanistan. Couple of things, One, I mean, Abdur Rahman, totally inexperienced. I mean, what was he doing? Forget international level, even at a local club level. This was amateurish kind of bowling. He was clearly feeling the heat, whether it was the wide that he bowls or that full toss that he bowled. Poor bowling at the death. I mean, from a situation where there was no chance for Pakistan to have won it, he's actually gifted it to them. Fazalak Faruqi as well. The fast bowlers actually went for a lot of runs. You could see the panic in the Afghanistan ranks, a bit of misfielding as well, a few drop catches. Overall, from that situation, I mean, they needed to win it. I don't know why they had a left arm spinner today in their bowling lineup. Just look at the scorecard. Look at how the Afghanistan spinners have performed. The two most expensive bowlers have been the two fast bowlers. Abdul Rahman, of course, the top of that. I mean,
Eighty-three runs.
the one man who's most guilty for ensuring that Afghanistan end up on the losing side. Why couldn't you gone with that left arm spinner maybe a little earlier? And I cannot understand this whole logic of in the death you can't have spinners. If you've got spinners like Mujib, like Nabi, or how he was bowling today, like a Rashid, clearly you could have them bowl towards the death as well, provided you had somebody else to cover up the overs for the fast bowlers, especially Abdur Rahman. I mean, I'm shocked they didn't go with the left arm spinner. They should have, because clearly he wouldn't have committed harakiri the way Abdur Rahman did. So, and I think that, see, that's what happens sometimes. You look at tennis, you look at Why is it that sometimes you see a young kid playing really well, but when he's up against a Rafael Nadal or a Novak Djokovic, even though that young kid is looking like the better player, it's Novak Djokovic or Rafael Nadal who end up on the winning side. Why? Because they realize that on the day they may not be as good as that youngster, but they'll be patient. They'll wait for that youngster to make the mistake. So credit to Pakistan's lower order, not the middle order, Pakistan's lower order for being patient, because they knew Afghanistan in their history of ODI cricket. I think this is the sixth game or the seventh game, I'm not sure, but the six games. So they've never beaten Pakistan in an ODI game before. So clearly that was on their mind. And the fact that the lower order of Pakistan probably knew that and waited. I mean, it was quite something that MS Dhoni keeps saying, that at the death, why do you take it to the death? Why do you take it late? Why do you attack so late? Because it's not just you who's under pressure, it's also the bowler who's under pressure, and that was today proven correctly. But kudos to Shadab and then Naseem, who's made it a habit of doing this against Afghanistan. I remember that Sharjah game as well. He did it. Today again, does it. And dare I say, I was reminded a bit of that Sharjah game because I was there at the ground on that occasion. Because even today, after the game got over, there was no love lost between the two teams. Babar was shaking hands. Just look at it very carefully. He's not even looking at any of the Afghan player eye to eye. He's just customary shaking their hands. And when he gets to Nabi, being the senior pro, probably has that kind of authority to say something back to Babar. He tells Babar something, and Babar is then, animatedly trying to say something like, I didn't do it. That guy from your team must have did something to that extent. So it wasn't all hunky-dory between the two teams. They have a history. It happened in the World Cup. It happened in that Sharjah game, and it happened here. And to make it more spicy, what did you make of that run out? I'm not going to call it the Mankad. The run out in that final over. If there was going to be any sort of, what do you call, camaraderie shown at the end, even that was done and dusted as soon as he effected that run out at the end. What did you make of that run out?
I loved it. Perfect strategy. Perfect strategy, because you know full well that Shadab was running doubles throughout the penultimate over. You know that he ended the 49th over by hitting a 4 and 6 and will want strike ASAP. So he's going to be leaving his crease early. What does Fazal Haq do? Affect the perfect run out. Take notes, Harshal Patel. That's how you do it. But when he did that, Shadab was not happy, but he should have really been mad at himself. Why is he leaving his crease early? Don't leave your crease early. It's just that simple.
I agree.
You're gonna get a tweet from Ashwin soon. Wait for that. It's gonna come. That's your morning graph story tomorrow. Ashwin on the Shadab Khan run out by Messi. And every single time, if I have to look at it, I mean, look, it's game awareness. This is the kind of strategy which can spook anybody out. I mean, look, in the IPL itself in 2019, remember when Ashwin effected that run out of Butler, Shardul Thakur didn't take that additional stride in that game against RCB. That's why they lost by 1 run, CSK.
Yeah.
So that is why it's a brilliant game strategy. And anybody who criticizes, it's an unfair advantage, I'm sorry. They are out of touch with the reality of cricket. It was excellent effort by Fazal Haq Farooqi. Shadab should have been much more aware. You cannot take those extra yards for an unfair advantage. And by the way, it is in the rules. It is now a run out. So deal with it and go ahead, but don't do this over and over again.
I think it would have really escalated and gotten worse had Afghanistan won this game. Then you wouldn't have heard the last of it. It would have just carried on, and it would have left a bitter taste between the two teams. It's because Pakistan has won, maybe, whether it's Pakistan fans or the Pakistan players. Again, I'm not saying that it'll be to their liking, as you clearly saw from Shadab's reaction when he walks off the field. He was clearly not happy. But I agree. It is, I agree with the two of you. At the end of the day, it's a legal dismissal. And in fact, I would want to pat the back of Fazal Haq Farooqi for a reason that he was, at that situation where most bowlers are under pressure and they're spraying the ball all over. Somebody just pointed out 24 wides is what Afghanistan is bowled. At that time, he knows what is going to be the strategy of Pakistan? Shadab needs to be on strike. So come what may, no matter what happens, Shadab's going to be running, right? And that's game awareness. He knows that, and he affects that run out. And what I also liked about him, he had zero regrets. Shadab may have been unhappy. He walked off, in a huff from after he was dismissed. But looking at the bowler and the team, they had zero regrets, and that's how it should be. You got to normalize it. You
Correct.
cannot now, even though it's in the rule, you can't make it a gray area that some will like it, some may not. To each his own. No, it's a rule. It's a rule. Follow it, and if you don't, just carry on. And I think the reason for Naseem's celebration, one, because of the fact that he hits that winning boundary. Of course, he'd be happy. He wins the match from an unlikely position, so he'll be happy. But I think that whole reaction that you saw from Naseem, also that run out may have contributed, that they may have been aggrieved with the fact that run out happened, and that contributed to that kind of celebration, the aggressive celebration that you saw of him.
Truth be told, if they have to be annoyed at anyone, they should be annoyed at their middle order for putting them in that position. From 170 to 1 to 211 for 6. That means you've lost 5 wickets in the space of 41 runs. Unacceptable. You cannot be doing that, especially when, and this would have rankled Pakistan even more when you consider the fact that today they had everything to their liking, chasing. It was a very batting friendly track. They didn't need to take much pressure. It was actually a very good track to bat on. They knew that the runs were probably slightly, at best, at par, maybe even under par, because the way the pitch was playing. If Afghanistan, had a more destructive batting lineup besides Gurbaz, no one was really going hell for leather. And even he was very conservative early on, knowing that if he got out, then that's half the batting lineup done. If they had a more star-studded or star-powered lineup, they would have been getting 330, 340. That would have been a challenge. Pakistan were cruising. They were, for all intents and purposes, cruising. They needed 120, 130 with 20 overs to go. That's easy when you've lost, one wicket. But from there on, it would have been a massive, massive shock to their system if they even took it this deep. It shouldn't have needed a Naseem actually sealing the game. And of course, I think in this case, both teams were trying their damnedest at one point to lose the match. Pakistan first up, then Afghanistan in that 49th over, where, as we say, I think it was Abdul Rahman, lost the plot entirely.
I mean, this is not the first time though. Remember, even in the first game, the Pakistan middle order really struggled. It only was Imam's 61 that held the innings together. Otherwise, and look at it today. What a comeback by Pakistan, even with the ball. 227 for 1 in the 40th over. Next 10 overs, just 73 runs. Just 73 in this era, by the way. When you should have made 100 more. You should have made 10 overs, 100. You could have gotten to 327, 330. The game was still Afghanistan's, despite all the wides, despite all the fielding lapses. I mean, we both know Pakistan and Afghanistan are never the best fielding sides. You are never going to get that. Yeah, so that is why I really cannot understand that. What were they trying to do after those 5 wickets fell? And you didn't use your favorite term, Shane, in that. You said it was a middle order. No, it's a muddle order. That Pakistan muddle order just seems to be struggling, and major alarm signs heading into the Asia Cup. This series has shown it.
I think from the situation they were in, and I think that's the difference. And I keep referring to India versus Pakistan. And I think that's the difference between the two teams. The other day when we went live, we were all praised for the Pakistan bowling. And I think they deserve that. I still maintain that they're probably the best fast bowling lineup that you will see at the World Cup, even in these conditions. You saw it again today, as Siddharth points out. You had one of those rare days when they, are not that dominating to begin with. But then they come back towards the death overs, right? And ensure that it's not a total that completely is out of their reach. But it's their batting that will give them a lot of headaches. Fakhar Zaman, didn't have a great game number 1, had a very so-so game number 2. But you know that he's a proven performer. He could run hot, he could run cold, but he could still do it. Imam's been their most standout batter, even though a lot of criticism was, coming his way earlier that, he's friends with Babar Azam, so you pick him. But now he's really showing it to the world, to the critics, that you definitely need an anchor batter like him around which the team can revolve. And he did that again today. I think his dismissal completely changed the game, and it was in Afghanistan's favor. But from there on, Afghanistan goes on to lose. But I think till the time he was there, even though the run rate was climbing, you still thought that Pakistan would be favored. So Imams really stand out. Babar had a decent outing today, and he's a class act. He may not have got too many runs lately in ODI, but he's a class act. Rizwan also, okay, today run out, right? So I can give him that run outs really happened. But look at that, middle order of Aga Salman, Iftikhar. They sent Mir today. I think they experimented sending him a bit higher up. That's not the middle order that's going to inspire any sort of confidence in any team. And I think this is going to be the Achilles heels. And this is not something us pointing it out in hindsight. If you remember when the Pakistan squad was announced, this was our discussion. This is what we are focusing on, that you look at that middle order, not really tested, but they're going with that middle order. So we don't know how it's going to perform. And you can clearly see that inexperience, the kind of risk that, and I'm going to even include Iftikhar in that, because people say that, he's a big hitter, but he's more often than not cold than he's hot. I mean, I'd say majority of the time he's cold than he's hot. So that's consistency missing out of him. So these are 4 batters that are clearly a weakness, and that's supposed to be the backbone or the engine room of that team. And if that's not firing, that's going to be one weakness. Today, it was Afghanistan's inexperience that helped them win. But when you're going to be up against better teams, that will not allow you any room to breathe throughout that moment. And if you're going to be playing these kind of strokes, for example, Aga Salman, I'm just going to talk to you about it. Firstly, plays that bad stroke, is lucky enough that he's dropped. From there on, you would have thought that some better sense will prevail and he from there on get you many runs. What does he do? Plays a reverse sweep, gets out. I mean, what the hell is he thinking? And I saw at that point, Imam come and tell him and explain to him that, listen, be careful when he's dropped. And he tells him, no, it got this edge, that, trying to come up with some sort of an excuse. But then plays a stupid shot there as well. Iftikhar showed patience to begin with, which I like. But again, there have been only 1 or 2 occasions I remember him winning the match where his, this throwing caution to the wind sort of an approach really came good. So that inexperience in Pakistan batting order, their lower order is not going to bail them up. But I think that's their other strength, which let's say the India doesn't have. Their bowlers can bat. Shaheen Shah Afridi can bat. Shadab, as I said, is an outstanding all-rounder. He's a very good batter. And Nawaz comes into the things. He's a very good batter as well. Till Naseem, that their bowlers can really bat, can get you those 12 and over, which they achieved today. So I think those are the things that work in Pakistan's favor. But when you are up against better teams like England, Australia, India, South Africa to that extent, maybe New Zealand, then you need to have all your facets of the game firing. You can't have one weakness area and say, okay, we're a great bowling lineup, we have a good top order, we have good long handle batters at the death, but we'll do with a weakish middle order. Won't work. Will work against Afghanistan, won't work against much better teams.
Absolutely. Mentioning Nawaz, I think he is someone would actually add a lot more solidity to that middle order, because he's someone who, yes, he's a big hitter, but he's not aggressive for the sake of being aggressive. He'll take his time, he'll assess the situations, then go big. We've seen him do that against even India in the past. Very good at that sort of a role. And actually, I think they need him, and maybe you need Shadab to bat higher up the order. I don't understand why they bat him that low. Someone who's a class act as a bat, their middle order is otherwise very, very untested.
And remember, most of Pakistan's success, if you have to look at it in major ICC events or in the past Asia Cups, has come because of a solid middle order. Look at 1992. You had Javed, you had Imran, you had Inzamam. In 2019 also, you had in 2009 World T20, you had Yunus Khan. You had all the others chipping in that middle order. 2017 also. There was Babar, there was Hafiz, all of them in the middle order who were chipping in. So a strong middle order for Pakistan means that more or less most of their weaknesses are covered. They always have had a good bowling lineup. They've always had a good opening pair. But what about the middle order? Pakistan's greatest period in the middle order came from the 90s period onwards, when you had Javed, you had Inzamam, but then you had the likes of Mohammad Yusuf, you had Ijaz Ahmed. In the end, you had an Abdul Razak coming in. So all those guys gave Pakistan's batting an X factor if you look at it. And now if they persist with this middle order, I'm sorry, I may have to change my revision of Pakistan not making it to the top four of the World Cup then, because it'll be like how
Why?
India is.
It's taken one for Siddharth to change. Last game, last game you saw them decimate the Afghanistan batting lineup, and you said this is the reason why I have picked Pakistan.
Yes. But
Last
again,
game,
if
one
this
loss.
batting continues, if this batting continues, then I'll have to change, boss. Because see, even in the previous game,
But you should have considered this in advance. Now, don't tell me you didn't know, Siddharth, that this
I am not
batting
a
lineup
hindsight
or the
expert.
middle order will not be a problem. Tell me that. Did you need to see today's game to realize? Did you not have this? As I said, when we did the live or when the squad was announced, you could see it at that time that middle order was going to
Yep.
be a problem. So it's nothing, something that you've just discovered.
Yeah.
It was something that was known to us when the team was announced. So one loss, and you're like, I'm now.
I am not a hindsight expert, as what Ashwin would
We
like to
all
say.
are. Don't, let's not kid ourselves.
There's a
I know,
super chat by Sharan Vinakota, and he's saying, how much ever talent Pakistan has, this element of Pak never dies. One day up, one day down. Though, to correct you, Sharan, now it's been 2 days they've been up. Back to
yeah,
back.
I mean, this epic quote by Nasir Hussain: "One moment down, one moment up." When Amir took the wicket of Virat Kohli at 2017, that was the comment he had made. But yeah, I mean, see, Afghanistan have never landed a knockout blow on Pakistan. You remember 2019 World Cup at Leeds? They were on the cusp of winning, but then poor bowling decision. Gulbadim Naib, already the most expensive, he came on to bowl and Pakistan won the game.
Of course, you were the captain, remember? Very
the
derided
captain
captain.
himself sung the team. The captain himself sung the team. Remember, he was not a popular captain, by the way, because
That's right.
I
It was
think
not
it came
popular
out
at
of
all.
turmoil. I think Asghar Afghan had to quit in very acrimonious circumstances.
Yeah.
He
He
was not
didn't
very
quit.
popular. He was not very popular because a lot of people thought that he didn't deserve to be leading them, and there were better leaders in the team like Nabi and so on and so
Right.
forth. So, so that is why he was not. I want to ask you: is Afghanistan to Pakistan what Bangladesh is to India? Like, get very close to winning, but somehow find a way to lose.
It's getting there. It's getting there for sure.
I mean, at least credit to Bangladesh, they've at least won a couple of series. Whereas it's early days in the Afghanistan-Pakistan thing.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
certainly an edge in this rivalry. There is certainly an edge in this rivalry.
I mean, one of our family members said the Pakistan-Afghanistan rivalry is like RCB LSG at this point.
No, that's a.
You have to get in that, isn't it?
Everyone.
Okay. We've got a comment from Akash Bhardwaj. He's saying today's game probably shows we don't need a bowler to bat. We need a bowler who can hit sixes when needed. In fact, this is something that we pointed out earlier as well.
Yeah.
That in Indian cricket, this is another problem. Forget about lower order batting. Forget about that. I'm okay with having tail enders, which is pretty natural. But the one thing that's missing is that your tail enders not being able to hit those. You don't need your tail enders to get a 50. I'm saying your tail enders need to be the ones who can come up with that 1/6 and a 4 when needed in the last over or the last couple of overs. Those kind of tail enders. But can I that was in the series leading up to the Asia Cup. I think by Asia Cup a bit of that gets sorted. Because I think Shami is that guy. I think Shami, if he does play in the 11, is one of those players who can tonk it. Jasprit Bumrah, to an extent, is a player who can tonk it, can hit you that boundary or two. And as I said, you don't need them to be classically correct batters who need to get you a 40-50. No, just about a 4-ball, 12 or something like that. And I think Shami and Bumrah are those. But I guess both of them playing together, maybe not. We don't know what is the bowling lineup they go with. Siraj comes in, but I think Shami is the only kind of that long handle batter that you have who can tonk it quite consistently, like Naseem. I mean, I'll put him in that Naseem sort of a category.
Yep, indeed. Yeah, I think Pakistan are a very odd conundrum at this point. Have a good top order, middle order missing, good lower order.
Very good lower order.
Very good lower order.
Aditya Kavlekar is saying Pakistan should bat lower order in the middle order, in the middle order, in the lower order, which
Correct.
actually wouldn't be a bad idea. because he would certainly be. I mean, at least Shadab for that matter, and even Nawaz. They've sent him earlier. I think he'll come into the 11 right now.
Yeah.
They're trying various other uh, bowlers, but once he comes in, he's even batted 4
Yeah.
for Pakistan. So I think they could look at an interesting question by Akhil Prem. I don't know the answer to it. Where is Naveen ul Haq?
He doesn't play ODI as much.
Ah, he's Shane's favorite off spinner, isn't he?
Absolute top gun.
But actually, you needed an off spinner today, like
Actually, this.
like you, like Mujib in that extent. He's a mystery spinner though, but as they
Hmm.
showed you. But why not? I can't understand. If he can play T20, why don't he play ODIs?
Good question.
Fitness and lack of consistency.
Today, as I mentioned earlier, I can't understand that Afghanistan had that left arm spinner, didn't bowl him.
Hmm.
I would even, I mean, I just honestly telling you, instead of a fast bowler, I don't care, Abdur Rahman, I would put him out. I would play a Noor because
Exactly.
if you had a Rashid, a Nabi, a Naveen, sorry, Mujib, not Naveen. I also got carried away with that off spinner. A Mujib and a Noor bowling 40 overs. Believe you me, you wouldn't have been able to chase 400. It doesn't matter. Like in Test cricket, remember India would do? They used to play the quadrat once in a while, or at least three spinners
Yeah.
minimum.
Yeah.
Prasanna, Bedi, and Chandra would definitely play. Venkat would come in and come out sometime. But the three
Yes.
spinners, the new ball, if Karsan Ghavri or whoever is just bowl a few overs and then just give the ball to the spinner. Do that, yeah. Just 10 overs is enough for Fazal Haq. 40 over spinners, no matter the situation. Tell me, you guys tell me, any situation in the game, who would you
Hmm.
rather trust? Any situation, new ball with the new ball, death, anything. Noor versus Abdur Rahman.
Noor,
Noor,
any,
any day, Noor.
and
Any
also if
day.
you talk about the spinners and the power play, then Mujib is predominantly a power play bowler only. He gets at least 3-4 overs in the power play because he's so difficult to pick.
And Rashid is your best death bowler also.
Exactly.
Rashid Khan. He's bowled so many overs in the death in the IPL and for Afghanistan. So why
For
not?
Afghanistan, leave IPL aside, he's bowled for Afghanistan. Even here, he was bowling 41, 42nd, I think some over he was bowling. They had him still. They had a couple of his overs left. He could have saved a few more overs.
Yeah.
Nabi also very hard to pick in the middle overs, trying to reverse sweep him.
Strange captaincy, I'm telling you. Afghanistan have been let down by strange captaincy in both major matches where they came close. 2019 and now this. Major captaincy issues for them. So I don't know when are they going to stage a recovery now. I don't know whether Noor will say, okay, we come here to win. But if your captaincy decisions are dodgy, you're not going to win, my friend. You're only going to come and...
As if you're talking about if you want to win, you have to be playing Noor. He can't do anything from the bench.
Yeah. Play Noor. Noor did an interview with Sports Today where he said, we're not here to make up numbers in Asia Cup. We're here to win it. But for that, Afghanistan, you need to play Noor. Like Rookie Techie is pointing out, 30 plus extras Afghanistan gave today. The difference. That is the big difference between the two teams. Abdur Rahman is the 12th man for Pakistan, he feels. His bowling looked like Mohammad Amir in London 2010.
That's a bit far.
No, that's a bit harsh. But Noor Ahmed should have played exactly what we're making a point. I don't care. You don't have to be conventional that, minimum 2 fast bowlers have to play. Forget it. Yeah, your strength. You have a bowler. We all saw Noor, what he did in the IPL. He was almost unplayable. So play him and even look at someone like Naveen. I mean, what is this fascination that he only plays T20 cricket? He's a much better bowler with his cutters. He would be much better. So I think they have the players to do it. But again, we can keep talking about the players. This might come in, but the biggest difference today is temperament. It's that self-belief, which Afghanistan clearly did not have. That whole thing, the monkey off their back or trying to get that monkey off their back or winning that first ODI versus Pakistan, that's weighing heavily on their shoulders. And I think that is what played today from a winning position. You just committed harakiri and gave Pakistan a win. But just before we sum up, Pakistan won the series. That means the third match is a dead rubber in that case. We here in India have been watching Pakistan very closely, and I think it's a good team. It's going to be a very close contest. India also, at the moment, looks very good on paper, but as we were pointing out the other day, a lot of those players haven't played together. So many of them coming back after injury, so many of them coming back after workload management or not having played ODI cricket for a very long time. Even some of our stalwarts. So when they all come together, how are they going to perform? Pakistan, on the other hand, are going to be playing together, this same team, and then gets into that Asia Cup game on the second. So it'll be good, but for Pakistan to be a top quality ODI team, they need to sort that middle order out. If they do sort it, then I think they become a formidable ODI team. But at the moment, India will be smelling a chance just looking at that middle order. All they would think about, get through that top order, and then you restrict them for a low total, and then if it's a low total, I think the experience in the Indian batting could take over. I think the pressure of the Pakistan bowling lineup only comes if there is a big total that India is chasing, or India is looking to put up first. If you play conventional cricket with them, you still have a chance. Even if India is batting first, they might think of, let's get a par total, not look at really above par, because you try and look at above par, then you might fall well below par, and then that may give Pakistan a chance. It's best to just aim at par, because with their dodgy middle order, you always have a chance. I think that is what we have been able to gauge for the moment in the two ODIs we've seen.
Yeah, but I think before we end this, spare a thought for Rahmanullah Gurbaz, man. What a knock. The first ever wicketkeeper batter to hit a 150 plus against Pakistan. First ever.
Inside.
Exactly.
Well, that reminds me. Big 100 against Pakistan. Another wicketkeeper batter got in Visakhapatnam and then went on to become a legend.
Yeah.
Gurbaz idolizes him.
Gurbazigar.
Gurbazigar idolized somebody. Yeah.
Yep. But very sad. 150, one of the finest runs that he made. He scored more than 50% of the runs today for Afghanistan.
He just scored 145 versus Bangladesh and he's bettered his own record so soon.
Yep. Second highest now in the list.
He has now second and third.
Yep.
What's he? Is he an Afghanistan batsman or a Kolkata Knight Riders batsman? How do you super him?
Well, of course, Afghanistan batsman, but I was rooting for him primarily because of the KKR link. So
good team. They're coming out to be a good team. Good game overall.
Yep.
Worth it.
Very good team. Yep.
On that note, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Pleasure as always. Thanks for tuning in to Sports Today. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It was a busy day today. Most of it really, occupied by chess, because it was a big day for India. So we have a lot of videos up on chess. In fact, we have Prag's interview up. So do check that out after his incredible performance. And we'll be back tomorrow with the Indian camp is starting in Bangalore. So we'll focus on that. Tomorrow is another day. For the moment, bye-bye. Good night. Sleepy night.
See you all. Bye-bye.